Some stories are never forgotten. Some mysteries demand answers. Welcome to Shadow Files, where we dive deep into the cases that shook the world.
February 9th, 2004. Route 112, Haverhill, New Hampshire. A 21-year-old nursing student is driving north through a snowstorm. Her car spins off the road. A passing bus driver stops, asks if she needs help. She tells him no. She tells him she's already called for help. By the time police arrive, 19 minutes later, she is gone. No tracks, no witnesses, no body. Just a car, a cracked windshield, and a rag stuffed into the tailpipe. What happened to Maura Murray in those 19 minutes has haunted investigators, her family, and the true crime world for over 22 years. And the answer may be more disturbing than anyone imagined. Maura Murray, 21 years old. She was a star athlete in high school. Track, cross country. She could run. She was accepted into West Point, chemical engineering. 3 semesters later, she transferred to UMass Amherst to study nursing. She wanted to help people. Both of those things can be true at once. She was fiercely disciplined and deeply compassionate, but the months leading up to her disappearance tell a different story. A story of someone unraveling. November 2003. Maura is charged with using a stolen credit card to order food. The charge is continued. 3 months of good behavior, and it disappears. February 5th, 2004. 4 days before she vanishes. Maura is working her campus security job. She takes a call from her older sister, Kathleen. After the call, her supervisor finds her at her desk, completely unresponsive, zoned out. When asked what's wrong, Maura says only 2 words, "My sister." What nobody knew at the time, what wouldn't come out for 13 years, is that Kathleen had just been discharged from rehab. On the way home, her fiancé took her to a liquor store. She relapsed. Maura carried that weight alone. February 7th. Maura and her father, Fred, go car shopping. Later that night, she borrows his Toyota Corolla to go to a dorm party. At 3:30 in the morning, driving to his motel, she crashes into a guardrail. Nearly $10,000 in damage. The officer writes a report. No sobriety tests are documented. The next day, Monday, February 9th, everything changes. 1 p.m. Maura emails her boyfriend, "I love you more, stud. I got your messages, but honestly, I didn't feel like talking to much of anyone. I promised to call today, though. Love you, Maura." 1:24 p.m. She emails her professors and work supervisor. She says there's been a death in the family. She'll be gone for a week. There was no death. 2:05 p.m. She calls a number for hotels in Stowe, Vermont. 5 minutes. 2:18 p.m. She calls her boyfriend, leaves a voicemail. 1 minute. 3:30 p.m. She leaves campus. Her car, a black 1996 Saturn sedan. Her belongings, clothing, toiletries, college textbooks, birth control pills. Her room, boxes packed. Art taken off the walls. On top of the boxes, a printed email to her boyfriend, hinting at trouble in their relationship. 3:40 p.m. She withdraws $280 from an ATM. Surveillance footage shows her alone. Then she buys about $40 worth of alcohol. A box of Franzia wine, vodka, Kahlua, Bailey's Irish Cream. Then, she drives north into a snowstorm, into the White Mountains, into nothing. 7:27 p.m. A resident on Wild Amanuensis Road in Haverhill, New Hampshire, calls 911. A car has crashed. A black Saturn, nose first, into a snowbank. The resident's husband, a school bus driver named Butch Atwood, walks out to check on the driver. He sees a young woman, no visible injuries, she's shivering. She refuses his offer to call for help. She tells him she's already called. Butch Atwood walks back to his house. He calls 911 anyway. 7:46 p.m. Police arrive at the scene. The car is there. The belongings are there. The alcohol is there. Maura Murray is not. 19 minutes. That's all it took. 19 minutes between Butch Atwood seeing her alive and the police finding an empty car. No footprints in the snow. No witnesses who saw her leave. No sign of struggle. She simply vanished. What should have happened? An immediate massive search. Roadblocks, canine units, helicopters, a grid search of the dense forest surrounding Route 112. What actually happened, police treated this as a routine DUI walkaway. A college student crashes her car, has been drinking, panics and runs into the woods to avoid a drunk driving charge. They expected her to show up within hours. She didn't. 2 days passed before a formal search began. 2 days in February, in the White Mountains. At night, temperatures dropped to single digits. If Maura was out there, injured, disoriented, without proper clothing, those 2 days may have been the difference between life and death. The police searched. The family searched. Fred Murray, Maura's father, drove up from Massachusetts immediately. He walked those woods himself. He still walks them today. The investigation revealed a series of unanswered questions. Why did Maura lie about a death in the family? Where was she going? She had no reservations, no known destination. Why did she pack up her dorm room? What was in the voicemail she left her boyfriend? The record is the record. Those questions remain. Search dogs tracked her scent about 100 yards east of the crash site. Then, the trail stops. The theory? She got into a vehicle. Whether voluntarily or by force, nobody knows.
Suspect 1. Butch Atwood, the bus driver. Who was he? The last known person to see Maura Murray alive. A 57-year-old school bus driver who lived near the crash site on Route 112. What pointed at him? He was there. He spoke to her. He had opportunity. What complicated it? Butch Atwood himself called 911. He was interviewed multiple times. His story never changed. He let police search his property. He passed a polygraph. He died in 2009, taking whatever he knew with him. Both of those things can be true at once. He could have been innocent, and he could have been the last person who could have saved her but didn't. Suspect 2. The boyfriend, Bill Rausch. Who was he? Maura's serious boyfriend, a West Point graduate serving in the military. He was stationed in Oklahoma at the time of her disappearance. What pointed at him? His relationship with Maura was troubled. The printed email found in her dorm room suggested conflict. He flew to New Hampshire immediately after her disappearance. What complicated it? He was in Oklahoma. He had a verified alibi. Years later, Bill Rausch faced his own legal troubles, charged with sexual assault in an unrelated case. The question of whether that has any bearing on Maura's case is one no one can answer. Suspect 3. An unknown local predator. This theory is simple. A young woman, alone, on a dark rural road. A stranger stops, offers a ride, or doesn't offer. The opportunity for a crime of opportunity is undeniable. The area around Haverhill is remote. The nearest town, Woodsville, is small. People knew each other, but they also knew the woods. They knew every back road. If someone wanted to make a person disappear in northern New Hampshire, they could. Where do these suspects stand today? Butch Atwood is dead. Bill Rausch faces no charges related to Maura's disappearance, and the unknown predator, if they exist, walks free. In 2009, the case was transferred to New Hampshire's Cold Case Unit. The designation changed, no longer a routine missing person, now a suspicious missing person investigation. Then came the evidence the public didn't know about, the rag in the tailpipe. Maura's father, Fred, told investigators he had advised Maura to do this because the car was emitting smoke. But mechanics and investigators questioned it. A rag stuffed in a tailpipe doesn't stop smoke. It blocks exhaust. It could cause a stall. It could be a sign of foul play, someone trying to disable the car. The alcohol. Maura had been drinking. The Franzia wine box was open. Some was missing. Combined with the crash, this is why the DUI walkaway theory took hold. But here's what complicates it. Maura was a runner, a track star. She could have covered miles on foot, but she left behind her phone charger, her toiletries, her debit card, things you don't leave if you're planning to return.
The accident report from 2 days earlier. Maura crashed her father's car at 3:30 a.m. No field sobriety test was given. Was she drinking that night too? Was she spiraling? The question of why will not be answered. In 2017, the Oxygen Network produced a 6-part documentary series. It brought new eyes to the case, new tips, new searches. The result? Nothing definitive, just more questions. The documentary did uncover something significant: Kathleen's confession about the phone call, about the relapse, about the weight Maura was carrying. Theory 1. Voluntary disappearance. Supporters of this theory point to Maura's packed dorm room, the lies about a family death, the MapQuest searches for Vermont and the Berkshires. She was planning to leave, that much is clear. However, here is why this theory falls apart. You don't disappear for 22 years with $280 and no plan. You don't vanish without accessing your bank account, without contacting your family, without leaving a single trace. Maura was close with her father, close with her siblings. She called her boyfriend the day she disappeared and promised to talk later. People who plan to vanish don't do that. Theory 2. Foul play. The 19-minute gap, the scent trail that ended in the middle of the road, the rural location, the alcohol in her system. Supporters of this theory point to the simplest explanation. Someone took her, a local, a passerby, a predator who saw an opportunity. However, here is what complicates it. No body, no weapon, no suspect who hasn't been cleared. In 22 years, not a single piece of physical evidence of a crime has been found. That does not mean a crime didn't happen. It means someone was very good at hiding it. Theory 3. Death by exposure. Maura was drinking. She crashed her car. She was scared. Scared of another DUI, scared of police, scared of her family finding out. She ran into the woods to hide. She got disoriented. The temperature dropped. Hypothermia set in. She died somewhere in those woods, and 22 years later, her body simply has not been found. Here is why this theory holds. It's the simplest explanation. No conspiracy, no predator, just a tragic chain of bad decisions and worse luck. And here is why it's unsatisfying. Multiple searches with dogs, helicopters, and grid teams have covered those woods. Not a single trace, no clothing, no remains, nothing does, nothing will. The case remains open. Officially, a suspicious missing person investigation with the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit. The family keeps searching. Fred Murray still walks those roads. He has fought the state of New Hampshire for years to release case files, files they've kept sealed, citing an active investigation. The family believes the police know more than they've shared. The police believe they've shared everything that matters. Both of those things can be true at once. In 2022, a new search was conducted near the crash site, prompted by new tips. Ground-penetrating radar, cadaver dogs, nothing. The question of what happened to Maura Murray in those 19 minutes is still unanswered.
The question of why she left that day is still unanswered. The question of where she is, 22 years and over 8,000 days later, is still unanswered. What would it take to solve this case? A confession, a body, a witness who has stayed silent too long, a piece of evidence hidden for 2 decades. The case is not closed. It is waiting.
If you made it this far, you know the truth about the disappearance of Maura Murray. Here's what I need from you. Leave your theory in the comments below. What do you think happened in those 19 minutes? Have you heard something different? Found new evidence? Tell me. Because the only way cold cases get solved is when people like you refuse to forget them. If you believe victims deserve to be the center of these stories, not speculation, not sensationalism, subscribe to Shadow Files. New case every week. I'll see you in the next one.